Today on Free Field Training, we are taking a look at the Sabre 2-in-1 PepperLight. We have previously looked at other unusual, less lethal options for security and people in other industries that are like ancillary to law enforcement and security before. The most notable example was the Mace pepper gun, which turned out to not be a gun at all, and also not a terribly good pepper spray dispenser or flashlight or anything else. Lots of these products that are billed as multi-use things, so it's like a baton and a flashlight, or a flashlight and an OC spray. Those types of things tend to not be really good at both of those things at the same time. Today we are going to look at this flashlight slash pepper spray container that I found on sale at my local big box store. It rhymes with buyer, in case you're interested. These were 30 bucks, and I figured for 30 bucks, it was worth a look at. If nothing else, it would make an entertaining video about these types of combination systems. I briefly looked over the stats of this, and I couldn't tell from the outside here whether this was a rechargeable flashlight or too much about how long it was supposed to run. It said it's 750 lumens, and there's a 15-gram OC spray container. There's not a lot in here about what type of OC or what the consistency of it is, whether it comes out as a spray or a cone or a foam or any of that, according to the outside of the packaging. I do see something on here that says it includes one CR123 battery, so I'm assuming that it's not a rechargeable flashlight, but you can get rechargeable CR123s if you were interested in something like this. So, to start off, before I go ripping it open and screwing with it, the idea comes up is, what could this possibly be useful for? And when I first saw it, I had the same question, really. One thing I thought was, again, we're getting into the realm of things that people who are working unarmed security might want. Fairly cheap item that might give them some sort of defensive capability. And our question is always, does it provide a useful defensive capability? And for the price, is it a defensive capability that is going to be more useful at that price range than what you could get by buying the two things separate and only spending that same amount of money? This, I think, might, depending on what we find when we open it up and start playing with it, might be the type of thing where you could actually get something that's at least useful as a flashlight and useful as OC spray. I'm under no delusions that for $30 on sale in a clamshell container at a big box store, we're going to get something that's like a really great OC spray or a really great flashlight. And I'm not even thinking that we're going to get a good OC spray and a good flashlight. This just doesn't have the size to accomplish that. But if they're a decent OC spray and a decent flashlight, or usable OC spray and usable flashlight, compared to a $20 flashlight and a $10 OC spray, and it comes in a container that's easier for somebody to carry if they're going to do some sort of light duty security, or if you're something like church security, you've got a very minimal budget, you're looking for some way to kind of expand your capabilities in an environment where you're unlikely to really need a less lethal, but you want to be able to have one, and you're unlikely to actually need a flashlight, but you'd like to have one for the couple of times where it might come up. In my own life, I remember back to being a ranger at a scout camp, and this might be the type of thing that I would give it in the time of day at that time. We didn't really need high lumen flashlights. A lot of our stuff was little utility things, looking underneath trucks and stuff where we had just like little mini mag light type of things. And OC spray was something that I really would carry only occasionally, only if we had like a very large weekend, and then never really had use of the entire few years that I worked there. So this might have been something that at the time for 30 bucks I would have gone, hey, let's give it a crack and see how it works. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to give it a crack and see how it works. I'm going to open it up. I haven't opened it up. I haven't played with it at all yet. We're going to look at it first as how good of a flashlight is this? Is it actually useful, as it says on the packaging, to disorient people at a safe distance with the 750 lumen flashlight? And then we're going to take it outside, and future Tommy is going to take it out in the backyard to the range, and we're going to spray it at my target back there and see if we actually can get anything like 25 bursts out of this size of container. Now, from what I know about using OC spray professionally for many, many, many years, I highly doubt there's going to get 25 bursts of any kind out of this. But if we get 3 1 to 2 second bursts out of this canister, I'm going to figure that that's okay. And then we'll kind of have to make a judgment call of how the flashlight works. So let's open it up and see what this ends up being inside here. All right, so the packaging is not super easy to open. Apparently that's been sitting on the shelf for a long time because it has gotten really, really, really brittle. Open this right up here. Try not to cut myself open too badly on video. And try to preserve as much of this paperwork that comes with it as humanly possible. That doesn't look like it's going to be super useful. Get this open and we're going to do the classic cop thing of definitely not reading the instructions for this before we start playing with it. So what's on here? Remove battery tab inside before use. So the only instruction that you really need should come on the outside of the thing in a sticker and be clearly marked. So clearly that's a thing and you have to break that in order to get inside. So here's our, let's get the little sticker off of there. That's not going to come off, so that's on pretty permanently for me. And here's our little battery tab, and now we've got a single CR123 inside. I'm not going to read the instructions about the UI. Those of you who are flashlight snobs, tough luck. We're not dealing with it. We're just going to see how it works for your average person pulling this out of the box. Turns on. Okay, tap for low, tap for off. So on, looks like it goes straight to high anytime you turn it on. Tap for low, tap for off. Let's try pushing it on and holding it. All right, if you push it on and hold it, it just goes constant on, and it stays that way. So it doesn't look like it has a momentary. If I push just a little bit, I'm not getting a momentary, and that looks like that's about it. So give me about 12 seconds here in, and I'm back. So I just read all the instructions for this to kind of brush up on what this is and how well it works, or how well it works, I should say. And apparently the mode that I was missing out on the flashlight was if you double tap, it goes straight to this strobe mode, which many people think is very useful for personal defense. I, as a cop for 17 years, have never found strobe mode to be useful for anything except making jokes about it. But other people really like it, and that's how you get to it. I do like that when you push this on, the immediate response for the light is full power. So at least if you need to get to the light in a hurry, you push the button and it goes automatically to high. There isn't a saver mode where it saves the last mode that you were on. It doesn't automatically come on low if you had it on low last time. But I think you could probably use it as a utility light, turn it on and then turn it to low if you wanted to use it also as a utility light. Although I think buying new CR123s would be prohibitively expensive. If you got a rechargeable CR123, you could probably deal with using this as kind of an EDC light. We'll look more at beam shots later, so you can make your own determination about whether or not that would work for you, both defensively and as like a little EDC light. It says it's IPX6 waterproof. The OC canisters, I've never known them to have problems if you get them wet. I spent a lot of time out on traffic stops and motor vehicle collisions in the pissing rain, so I don't imagine that that's going to be a problem. But the flashlight itself, if it's IPX6 waterproof, you're probably not going to have any issues, especially if you've got this clipped in a pocket or clipped in a pouch or attached to a vest or inside a suit coat or a jacket or something like that, where I think most people who are doing this type of light-duty security type of stuff are going to be using it. The light head on it is, it's medium-sized. What can I compare it to right here that I've got in front of me? I have an ASP Triad AA. So it's relatively small compared to the ASP Triad AA. But it's a nice clear reflector, so it may very well throw at least decently, even though the light head size is kind of small. I also learned in the directions that you can unscrew. Now we're gonna see, we're gonna watch Tommy spray pepper spray all over his studio here. There is a replaceable canister in here. So this isn't, as I was afraid, a throwaway type of thing where if you use the pepper spray once now, the whole thing needs to be replaced, flashlight at all. So it looks like you've got an LED that throws out pretty good light and a utility mode, an aluminum body. This is an aluminum body down here, a polymer head on it that interfaces with a pocket clip that you can easily remove, and then you can replace these little cartridges. At least today, I know you can still buy these cartridges. You might even be able to get an inert version of this cartridge for training, which might be something to look into if you're thinking about buying these for a whole group of people for your facility. Slide that back in. Let's not spray ourselves in the face, Tommy. All right. Screw this back down, and it says that the cartridge will push up, and you'll know it's loaded properly because it'll be all the way sealed, and this little gray button will pop up. The tab on the back, the little safety on the back for the pepper spray, is spring-loaded, and it's pretty strong. So that should work about as well as most other pepper sprays that I have experience with. And this is significantly thinner in diameter than your large canisters of a professional pepper spray that you would buy at a law enforcement supply warehouse or something like that. So let's take a look at it as a flashlight first. I am now more interested than concerned with this product being on the market. We're going to look at some beam shots inside the house, and then I'm going to take it outside and we'll get some distance shots. First, just going to be some beam shots of my cabinet here in my studio with all the lights off. So here is on high mode, and this is really close. Sorry about the reflective patches from Tactically Suited. They do reflect back pretty hard, but you can see this is high mode, so this is going to be your 750 lumens. This is what immediately comes on when you are, 10 feet away from somebody. And then this is your low mode, and that's a decent, at 8, 10 feet away. Little utility light if you're looking for something under a seat of a car or something like that, looking under a podium or under a table or under some chairs for somebody where they drop their keys in a crowded theater or something like that. You get your little low mode, and then here is the double tap strobe seizure inducing mode. Here's our standard test at the trees in the front yard here. I've got, this is on high, 750 lumens. That first tree is about 15 yards away. The second tree up there is about 25 yards away, and the third tree is about 35 yards away. Now, if we take it down the block, we can see that we can get light all the way over there to the house across the street. Those trees in the backyard, you're looking at about 75 to 80 yards away last time I checked it, and depending on whether there's leaves on the trees and how much they've been trimmed lately. That's pretty good performance from a single CR123 flashlight. I'm fairly happy with that. Let's now take a look at the low mode. I think we're going to get a whole lot less on low mode. There's our first tree there. The second tree, we're not really getting anything. Third tree, we're getting nothing at all, and obviously across the street we're going to get bubkiss. And here is on strobe mode for the same light. Here's our strobe mode, first tree, second tree, third tree, and I wouldn't really be expecting that we're going to get a whole lot more performance out of this light at that type of distance. You're not going to debilitate any attackers at that distance. But that first tree, that's probably pretty bright. It has surprising throw for the size of light and the price point that this is at. Because you figure if you're going to pay $10 maybe for the OC canister, for a 15-gram OC canister, that leaves you with $20 for the flashlight, that wouldn't be horrible performance from a $20 single CR123 flashlight. So next we're going to take this outside during the day, and we're going to compare this little Sabre 2-in-1 product to actual OC spray, and then to what we can expect for something in that $10 price range for OC spray. Now, my experience is that with these little tiny canisters, you're going to get maybe 7 or 8 1 to 2 second sprays out of these before they're no good anymore. They're just kind of spitting. And then for a 15-gram, one of these little tiny canisters, I wouldn't expect to get more than 1 2 second spray before you're no longer getting that 10 foot of spray that you get when it first starts out. You can see the massive difference between these two sizes of canister. Even with Sabre's own OC spray, I wouldn't expect that we're going to get 25 pulses of anything out of this. And if you did, by the end, it would be barely squirting out of the container. So I'm going to set a realistic goal for this type of personal defense product. If this gets 2 2-second sprays out of it, I will be happy with the purchase for the extra $10 onto the cost of that light. If it gets 3, I'll be absolutely ecstatic, and then we'll sit down and have a general discussion of what we think about this and what it could realistically be useful for. All right, we're out here on the range, so please bear with the noise in the background. We've got cars and gunfire and things like that going on in the background today. We're going to be looking at pepper spray, and I'm going to use my rubber dummy as the target. The camera is about 8 feet away from the rubber dummy, so a pretty realistic self-defense distance. I'm going to look at the pepper spray that we're talking about today and compare and contrast it to a couple other options that you would have as just OC spray, where they're not a combination of things. So first, I'm going to give you a pepper spray demonstration from the same brand. I've got another can of Sabre Red. This is like a law enforcement canister. It's the smallest professional size of OC spray, I would say. This one is coming up on expiration in a couple of years. It's something I have to get rid of anyway. So we are going to take a look at that so you can understand what a reasonable expectation for this type of pepper spray would be. And I'm also going to show you a smaller canister by another brand. This one is long since expired, but it's the type of spray that you would use for the same purpose, where you can just clip it to a pocket the same way that this flashlight / OC spray canister works. So you see a size comparison here. These two are made to fit into a pocket, and this one is made to fit into a pouch on a duty belt. So first I'm going to give you a demonstration of an actual law enforcement OC spray. This is what we would expect, and this canister is pretty new in that it hasn't been used before. It's just kind of getting old. This is at 8 feet away. We normally shoot in about 1 to 2 second shots, and that's enough to give us time to retarget onto the eyes. There you go. It was supposed to be a spray, but it came out as a foam. Oh no, it is a foam. All right, so that's Sabre Red's foam spray, and it kind of comes out as a stream and then hits with little droplets. This is what you can expect from your standard clip it on your pocket, like jogger type of spray. Your 1 to 2 second burst. Just barely reaching the target, and these are not the best things in the world. Again, this one is old, but it's never been used before. Never had really good luck with these small pocket-sized sprays. They're really more for clinching up and fighting with someone, and at that point, spray's not my favorite thing anyway. And here is the Sabre Red Pepper Flashlight. So we're going to see not just how well it sprays from 8 feet away, but also how much time we get into 1 to 2 second bursts. It's actually not bad. So it did a lot better than the little pocket one. So that's 1 to 2 second burst. 2 little bursts. Let's give it a longer one. It is pretty easy to target. 3. All right, now we're starting to lose power, but it's definitely not the advertised, like 16-foot spray. There we go. So that's for performance. That's actually fairly impressive performance for something that's a little tiny cartridge in an OC spray canister. Considering the size difference between the actual canisters here, it's actually pretty impressive that this little tiny canister does better than this larger one. I would have thought it was the opposite, but that's why we test. So is this 2-in-1 PepperLight from Sabre any good? Shockingly, yes. I would have bet money that this was going to be junk, and when I bought it for $30, I just assumed that I was wasting my money, or I was going to make a video making fun of it like we did with the other self-defense products that we've looked at. This, however, the flashlight, for 20 bucks? I mean, even if you stretch it to say, all right, we're going to need a rechargeable battery for this to make it viable for what I'm doing. A rechargeable CR123s are 4 of them for $20. So you could either find a way to buy one of them for $5 or get 4 friends together and buy them. Or, you could find somewhere that you can get a single one for $5. I really think that is not a bad flashlight. Even if you were going to buy lithium CR123s and put them in there, that's what most of us are using on weapon lights anyway. I think most people that are into personal defense enough to buy CR123s in bulk the same way that I do are probably not going to buy this for any real type of use. I think that this is going to be more of a light duty security type of deal or a personal protection type of thing. Honestly, this would be a fairly good thing for joggers, and it might be my new go-to suggestion for people that ask me, well, I go out late at night walking the dog or jogging or whatever, what should I buy? For 30 bucks, this isn't bad. As long as you're not going to rely on the flashlight to be a utility light, a CR123 in this that'll, run the flashlight for, I turned this on and left it out, ran for about 30 minutes on a single CR123, which is pretty good for a 750 lumen light, and it got warm, but it didn't overheat. The pepper spray I was super surprised with, especially, like I said, given the size being about equivalent to other pepper sprays that I've used before. The stream seemed rather thin, but it was easy to target, and you did get a fair amount of spray, which means that if you pulled this out and just started hosing, like most people with no training using pepper spray are pretty likely to do, you're going to be able to spray and track that spray into a suspect's eyes and face area, and it's probably going to be relatively effective. So for 30 bucks, and you can get a cartridge for this. So I looked online, and on Amazon you can actually find the cartridges for these. They're less than 10 bucks. I want to say it's $8.99 for a cartridge, and it was on Prime right now, so I could get it $8.99 like in 2 days for free shipping. So that's not bad. The whole package in a usable form, so being able to practice with it and actually use the light, it's going to be $30 for the combination plus $5 for the battery and another $10 for a spare cartridge. So you can use one to practice with and then have one to actually use for real life. 35, 45 bucks for this in an actual usable format, if that's the way you're going to use it. When I was a camp ranger, I probably would have bought one of these had I known that. So I know this is a long video, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm sorry I've been working, training new guys at work recently, and some of them have taken a lot of my will to live. And so I haven't been putting out videos as much as I could, and I really don't want to talk about more police stuff for like another 10 hours every week making a YouTube video. But this seemed like the perfect thing for me to kind of dig into and play with and give you guys at least an option for something else that's out there, or at the very least let you know that this isn't for you if it's not going to do the things that you want it to do. So that's it for the 2-in-1 PepperLight. Until next week, you guys be safe and take care of each other. Hey, thanks for watching Free Field Training on YouTube. And while you're here, why don't you check out some of these other goofy videos that I've made? Or you could subscribe or maybe go over to Patreon and see how you get your name put on the videos like these fine folks over here. All the links are, of course, down in the description. We'll see you guys next time.